Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Space Channel. When anything expands, it grows into the space around it, a breath into the evening air, a ripple into the water ahead. The universe may be the one thing that breaks this rule, expanding into nothing at all. There may be no surrounding space it grows toward, no outer edge, no waiting void beyond everything. The growth may be entirely inward, the distances between the galaxies lengthening from within, in a universe that is simply all there is. Tonight, over the next 2 hours, we follow slowly why this strange and quiet answer is very likely the true one. If you find these quiet explorations worth your time, a like or a subscribe helps the channel reach others who do. Thank you for being here. But for the next 2 hours, none of this is anything you need to carry. Let it all be far away and harmless. Settle in now and let yourself grow heavy. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing slow. Let the day fade gently away. Let's begin. The universe is expanding. It is one of the few facts about the cosmos that almost everyone has heard, and it sounds, at first, like a plain statement about size. Something that was smaller is becoming larger. Things that were once close together are drifting apart. And almost at once, the mind reaches for the next question, the one that feels too obvious to need asking. If the universe is getting bigger, then surely it must be getting bigger into something. There must be an emptiness out there, beyond the edge of everything, into which all these galaxies are slowly moving. It is one of the most natural questions a person can ask about the sky. The honest answer is stranger and quieter than the question expects. The trouble begins with a single word. That word is into. Everything a person has ever watched expand has expanded into a space that was already there, waiting to receive it. A held breath swells the chest into the air of the surrounding evening. Ripples spread across a pond into the still water ahead of them. In every ordinary case, there is the thing that grows, and around it, a larger space that was there first. The mind carries this pattern with it everywhere it goes, and when it hears that the universe is expanding, it fits the same familiar shape over the whole cosmos without a second thought. There is something faintly unsettling in what the science actually says, at least at first. It does not answer the question so much as gently take it apart. The universe, as far as anyone has ever been able to measure, is not an object sitting inside a larger space. There is no observed emptiness beyond it, no surrounding dark for it to grow into, no far wall with anything on its far side. The picture the mind so badly wants to draw of a great cloud of galaxies swelling outward into a waiting void appears to be a picture of something that does not exist. And yet the expansion is real. Both of these things are true at the same time, and holding them together is the whole quiet work of this night. To see how they fit, the first thing to loosen is the assumption hidden inside the question. When it is said that the universe expands into nothing, that is easy to hear as something bleak, as though the cosmos were pressing forward into a cold and hostile absence. That is not what the science means at all. It does not mean the universe is expanding into a terrible, empty darkness. It means something far calmer and far harder to picture. It means that the expanding is not a moving into at all. There is no outer surface traveling anywhere. There is only distance itself, everywhere, at once, growing. This is worth sitting with slowly, because it runs against a lifetime of intuition. The expansion of the universe is not the flight of galaxies outward through space towards some distant border. It is the steady growth of the space that lies between them. Two distant galaxies grow farther apart, not because either one is racing across the cosmos, but because the space in the gap between them is lengthening, gently and continually, as time passes. Nothing needs to be out ahead of them. Nothing needs to be received. The growth happens in the middle, in the space that is already there, not at some edge pushing into territory beyond. The word expanding, then, is doing a little quiet damage every time it is spoken. In ordinary speech, it suggests an outer boundary moving into new ground, the way a spreading stain claims more of a cloth. The expansion of the universe has no such boundary and claims no new ground. A truer word might be stretching, or loosening, or thinning, though none of them carry quite the right feeling either. The universe is not advancing. It is unfolding in place. Every distance within it is slowly becoming a larger distance, and that, and only that, is what the expansion is. None of this makes the original question foolish. It is a good question, one that careful people have asked for as long as anyone has known the universe was growing at all. Its answer simply happens to lie in a direction the question does not point. The question looks outward, toward an imagined edge and an imagined beyond. The answer lies inward, in the nature of space itself, and in what it means for space to have a size that changes. Over the next couple of hours, the aim is to walk that inward path slowly, one gentle step at a time, until the strange, calm answer comes to feel almost obvious. For now, it is enough to set down the first small stone. The universe is expanding, and it is most likely not expanding into anything. The growing is not happening at an outer edge, because there does not appear to be one. It is happening everywhere, in the quiet space between all the distant things, at the same unhurried moment. That idea will feel less and less unusual as the night goes on. It begins as a paradox and ends, if all goes well, as something restful to know. The place to begin is with what cosmologists actually mean when they say space is expanding, because the words are used carefully and mean something precise. Expansion is the growth over time of the distance between objects that are not bound to one another. Two galaxies that lie far apart, held together by nothing, will be found farther apart later than they are now. The measure of the separation between them increases. This is not a claim about galaxies rushing anywhere. It is a claim about the distances themselves, which quietly lengthen as the ages pass. This is why the process is described as the expansion of space rather than expansion in space. Those two small phrases carry two entirely different pictures. Expansion in space would mean matter, flung outward through a fixed and waiting emptiness, like debris thrown from a center. Expansion of space means something else. It means the space between things is itself growing, so that objects drift apart without traveling in the ordinary sense. They can sit almost still, each one going nowhere in particular, and still find the gap between them widening year upon year, because the ground of that gap is lengthening beneath them. A simple image helps hold this, so long as its limits are kept in mind. Imagine a wide sheet of soft rubber, and imagine small buttons resting on it here and there, none of them fixed down, each simply sitting where it lies. Now imagine the sheet being drawn outward, evenly, in every direction, stretched gently and steadily. Every button moves away from every other button. Yet no button is sliding across the sheet under its own power. Each one stays exactly where it sits on the rubber, and it is the rubber itself, growing, that carries them apart. The buttons are the galaxies. The sheet is space. The stretching of the sheet is the expansion. Look a little closer at that stretching sheet, and something else becomes clear, something that will matter later. Two buttons that begin near each other drift apart slowly, because only a little rubber lies between them, and only a little rubber is being added. Two buttons that begin far apart drift apart quickly, because a great deal of rubber lies between them, and every part of it is stretching at once. The more space there is in a gap, the faster that gap grows. This is exactly what is seen in the real universe. The farther away a galaxy is, the faster it is found to be receding, and it is receding not by choice or by motion, but because there is simply more expanding space laid out between here and there. There is an older and warmer image that carries the same idea, drawn from the kitchen rather than the laboratory. Picture a loaf of raisin bread as it rises slowly in the warmth of an oven. The dough swells in every direction, and as it swells, each raisin drifts away from all its neighbors. A raisin near the middle would see the others receding from it on every side. But so would a raisin near the crust, and so would a raisin anywhere else in the loaf. Every raisin sees the same thing, because the swelling is not happening from any one point. It is happening throughout the whole of the dough at once, in every small part of it, evenly. The raisin loaf gets one thing wrong, and it is worth naming now rather than later, because it is the very thing that causes all the confusion. A real loaf has a crust, an outer surface, and it swells into the air of the oven that surrounds it. The universe, as far as anyone can tell, has no crust and no oven. The image is only meant to convey the inner stretching, the way every raisin parts from every other. It is not meant to suggest an outer skin pressing into anything beyond. When the crust is quietly set aside, what remains is the true and useful part. Everything within is spreading apart, everywhere, with no need for a center and no need for an edge. It helps too to be clear about what does not take part in this stretching, because the expansion is far gentler and more selective than it first sounds. Not everything grows. The stretching of space is an exceedingly weak effect, and wherever anything holds itself together with a force of its own, that binding wins easily and completely. Atoms do not expand. The particles within them are held by forces so strong that the stretching of space cannot begin to loosen them. Rocks and worlds do not expand. Stars do not expand. A planet is bound by its own gravity into a fixed and steady size, and it keeps that size no matter what the wider universe is doing. The same holds at far larger scales than a single world. A star and its planets, bound together, keep their arrangement. An entire galaxy, with its hundreds of billions of stars turning slowly about a common center, is bound tightly by gravity and does not grow at all. Even neighboring galaxies that are held to one another, gathered into groups and larger gatherings, keep their grip and hold their shape. Some of them are not drifting apart at all, but slowly drawing together, their mutual gravity stronger than any expansion. The stretching does not reach inside these bound islands. It has no power there. Where the expansion does its quiet work is in the wide, thin spaces between the islands, in the enormous emptinesses that separate one galaxy or one gathering of galaxies from the next. There, where almost nothing lies and nothing holds, the growth of space goes unopposed, and the gaps widen freely. This is a gentle thing to know. Nothing nearby is being pulled apart. The Earth keeps its shape. The Sun keeps its distance. The galaxy holds together as it always has. Only the great open distances between far-flung islands are slowly, patiently lengthening in the places where there was almost nothing to begin with. So the expansion, seen clearly, is a soft and uneven affair. It is not a universe blowing apart. It is the widest and emptiest distances gently growing wider, while everything held together by its own nature stays whole. Understanding this already dissolves half of the fear the word expansion can carry. The last thing anyone needs to picture is a cosmos tearing itself to pieces. What is really happening is quieter than that. The far apart is becoming a little farther apart, in the emptiest places there are, and everything close and bound and familiar simply stays as it is. One of the oldest habits the mind brings to the expanding universe is the search for a center. If everything is spreading apart, the reasoning goes, then everything must be spreading apart from somewhere. There should be a place where it all began, a point from which the galaxies fly outward, and far away on every side, an outer shell of them racing ahead into empty space. It is a reasonable picture. It is the picture of an explosion, and an explosion is the nearest everyday thing to a universe that begins to grow. But it is not what the universe is, and the evidence against it is written plainly across the whole sky. When astronomers look outward in any direction and measure the distant galaxies, they find the same pattern everywhere they turn. In every direction, the far galaxies are receding. In every direction, the more distant ones recede faster than the nearer ones in the same steady proportion. There is no direction in which the galaxies are approaching rather than receding. No side of the sky that behaves as though it lies nearer some center of the whole. Look one way, and everything is drifting away. Turn and look the opposite way, and everything is drifting away there too, at the very same rate. The recession has no preferred direction at all. This is precisely what should be expected if the expansion is happening everywhere at once, and it is precisely what should not be expected from an explosion with a center. Return for a moment to the rising loaf and its raisins. A raisin anywhere in the dough sees every other raisin moving away from it, on all sides, the distant ones faster than the near ones. From its own point of view, it might well imagine itself to be at the center of the swelling, the still point from which all the others flee. But it would be mistaken. Every other raisin sees exactly the same thing from its own place. Each one appears to itself to be central. And when every point is equally the center, then no point is the center at all. This is the quiet resolution of the search. The reason no center of the expansion has ever been found is that there is no center to find. The growth of space does not radiate outward from a single spot. It happens in every part of space, evenly, at the same time. Any observer, standing anywhere in the universe, will always find the galaxies receding from them on all sides, and will always seem, from their own vantage, to sit at the middle of it all. This is not an illusion belonging to one favored place. It is the shared experience of every place there is. All of them are central, which is only another way of saying that the word has quietly lost its meaning. The same reasoning dissolves the imagined outer edge. An explosion with a center has a leading edge, an outermost front of debris moving into the space beyond. But an expansion with no center can have no such front, because there is no single direction that counts as outward for the whole. Outward, for any observer, simply means away from themselves, and that is true in every direction equally. There is no line of galaxies out there forming a final boundary, no last shell of matter with true emptiness on its far side. Every galaxy has other galaxies around it, in every direction, as far as anyone has ever been able to see. Nowhere does the universe thin out toward a rim. This even, centerless, edgeless quality of the universe on the largest scales is one of the most firmly established things known about it. Seen up close, the cosmos is lumpy and particular, gathered into stars and galaxies and long threads of light with darker gaps between. But step far enough back and consider large enough stretches of it at once, and that lumpiness averages away into a remarkable sameness. One enormous region looks much like another. One direction looks much like the next. The universe appears to have no special places and no special directions, no middle and no margin, only the same broad character wherever and however it is examined. It follows, and this is the point the whole night turns upon, that there is no outer surface anywhere for the universe to press into. An edge is exactly the thing that would be needed for the expansion to be a moving into. A surface, a boundary, a frontier of matter with emptiness beyond it, advancing into that emptiness. But no such surface exists. The universe does not have an outermost layer. It has no place where it stops and something else begins. And a thing with no edge cannot have its edge advancing into anything, for the simple reason that it has no edge to advance. The moving into picture needs a boundary that is simply not there. It can take a little while for this to settle, because the imagination keeps quietly rebuilding the edge even after it has been set aside. The mind pictures the galaxies, then pictures them stopping somewhere, then pictures darkness beyond the stopping. But the stopping place is invented each time by the picturing. In the universe itself, there is no evidence of any such place. However far the view is pushed, galaxies continue, scattered evenly through space in every direction, with no sign of a last one and no sign of a wall. The darkness the mind keeps drawing at the edge is a darkness of imagination, filling in a border that the cosmos does not seem to provide. So 2 of the 3 pieces of the everyday picture have quietly dissolved. There is no center from which the expansion flees, because it flees from every point alike. There is no edge advancing into the beyond, because there is no edge and, so far as anyone can tell, no beyond. What remains is only the growth itself, the patient lengthening of distances, happening everywhere at once, with neither a middle nor a margin to organize it. It is a strange shape for a growing thing to have, unlike anything within ordinary reach. And it is exactly this strangeness that the next images are meant to make gentle and familiar. To make a centerless, edgeless, growing universe easier to hold, it helps to step down for a while into a smaller and simpler world, one that can be pictured whole. Imagine, then, the surface of a balloon, and imagine that this surface is everything. Not the balloon as an object held in the hand, but only its thin skin, considered entirely on its own. Imagine that this skin is the whole of a small universe, and that nothing exists apart from it. There is no inside to this universe, and no outside, no air within, and no air beyond. There is only the surface, and whatever lives upon it, and no other place at all. Now scatter across that surface a few small marks, like dots of ink, and let each dot stand for a galaxy. And imagine the balloon slowly inflating, so that the skin stretches and grows. Every dot moves away from every other dot as the surface expands beneath them. A dot, anywhere on the skin, sees its neighbors drifting off in all directions, the farther ones faster, exactly as the galaxies do. The surface is growing, and everything drawn upon it is spreading apart, evenly and everywhere, with no dot moving across the skin under its own power. Each simply rests where it is, while the skin carries it gently away from all the rest. Consider where the center of this expansion lies, thinking only within the surface, as its inhabitants must. Search the skin as long as you like, and no center will be found. There is no point on the surface of a balloon that counts as the middle of the surface. Every point is the same as every other. One can travel across the skin in any direction forever and never arrive at a central place because none exists. And there is no edge either. Move in a straight line along the surface, and you never come to a boundary, never reach a final rim where the skin stops. You simply carry on, and in time come back around to where you began, having crossed a surface that is finite in its extent and yet has no edge anywhere upon it. This little world already holds nearly everything that the real universe asks the mind to accept. It is expanding, its distances all growing together. It has no center because no point on it is special. It has no edge because a traveler upon it never meets a boundary. It can even be finite, containing only so much surface, while still having nowhere that it stops. Everything spreads apart, everywhere, from no middle and toward no margin. If a small flat being lived upon that skin, unable to imagine anything but the surface, it could measure the growth, watch its dots recede, and would never once need the idea of an edge or a center to make sense of what it saw. But the balloon image carries a trap, and the trap is the very source of the confusion this whole night is meant to loosen. Held in the hand, a real balloon plainly has an inside and an outside. It sits in the air of an ordinary space, and as it inflates, its skin bulges outward into that surrounding air. The mind, watching, cannot help but notice this. It sees the skin expanding into the space around the balloon, and it quietly concludes that the little universe of the surface must likewise be expanding into some surrounding something. This is the exact moment the confusion is born. The surrounding air feels like the answer to what the surface expands into. Yet the surrounding air was never part of the little universe at all. The rule set down at the start was that the surface is everything, that there is no inside and no outside, only the skin. The air around the real balloon, the space it bulges into, the third direction the skin curves through, are all features of the hand that holds it, not of the universe drawn upon it. They are scaffolding the mind adds, because it cannot picture a growing surface without imagining a larger space to hold it. The flat beings living on the skin have no access to that air, no way to point at it, no evidence that it exists. For them, the surface simply grows, and it needs no surrounding anything in order to do so. This is the whole lesson carried in a single small image. The surface of the balloon expands. Every distance upon it lengthens. And the surface does not need the surrounding air in order to grow, because the growing is a property of the surface itself, not of anything around it. The air is real only for us, looking on from outside with our extra dimension to spare. Within the surface, the growth is complete and self-contained, requiring no beyond. When someone asks what the little universe expands into, they are pointing at the air, at the scaffolding, and mistaking a feature of the picture for a feature of the world. The reason all of this matters is that the real universe appears to be one dimension higher, exactly like the surface, and not at all like the surrounding air. Our space is the three-dimensional equivalent of that two-dimensional skin. It can grow, with every distance within it lengthening, without needing any higher space to grow into, just as the skin needs no air. The surrounding air that the mind keeps drawing around our universe is the same scaffolding, added for the same reason, out of the same inability to picture a growing space without a larger space to contain it. And it is just as unnecessary. The universe, like the surface, may simply grow within itself and need no beyond. The difficulty, of course, is that we cannot step outside our own space the way we can step back from a balloon and see its skin as a surface within a larger space. We are the flat beings in this story. We live inside the three dimensions that are stretching, with no fourth direction to stand in and look back from. This is why the growth of the universe is so hard to picture, and why the balloon, for all its usefulness, can only take the mind part way. It shows the surface from outside, which is exactly the view we can never have of ourselves. To go the rest of the way, the picture has to be set down and replaced with something that needs no outside view at all. The idea that finally answers the question is one of the most quietly powerful in all of science, and it has a plain enough name. It is called intrinsic geometry. It is the study of the shape of a thing described entirely from within, using only measurements made inside it, with no reference to any outside at all. It sounds abstract at first, and yet it is the key that unlocks everything, because it is the idea that lets space have a shape and change its size without sitting inside any larger space. Once it is understood, the whole puzzle of what the universe expands into simply comes apart in the hands, gently, and does not go back together. Begin with the ordinary way of thinking about the shape of a curved surface. A ball is round, and it seems obvious why. It is round because it sits in the space around it and curves through that space, bulging outward in 3 dimensions. Its roundness is something seen from outside, by an observer able to stand well back and take in the whole. This way of describing shape, by how a thing bends within a larger space that contains it, is one honest way to speak of curvature. It is the way the eye naturally works, and it always requires a larger space to do the containing and a viewpoint outside the thing to do the seeing. There is a second way to describe the shape of a surface, and it is far stranger and far more useful. Imagine a small being that lives on a surface and can never leave it, a being with no notion of any direction that would carry it off the surface, no access to any outside. It would seem, at first, that such a being could never know the shape of its own world, having no way to stand back and look. And yet it can. It can discover the curvature of its surface completely, without ever leaving it, purely by making careful measurements within the surface itself. The shape is not only visible from outside, it is written into the surface and can be read from inside. The way the being reads it is by doing geometry, patiently, on the ground beneath it. Suppose it draws a great triangle, running 3 straight lines between 3 distant points, and measures the 3 angles where they meet. On a flat surface, those 3 angles always add to the same familiar total, the total taught in every schoolroom. But on a curved surface, they do not. On a surface that curves like the outside of a ball, the 3 angles of a large triangle add up to more than that total. A little more the larger the triangle grows. On a surface that curves the other way, like a saddle or the bell of a trumpet, they add up to less. The being never has to leave its world to find this out. It only has to measure. To feel how real this is, picture 3 points set far apart on the surface of a great sphere, and 3 straight paths drawn between them, each running as straight as any path can run across that curved ground. Where the 3 paths meet, 3 angles are formed, and if those angles are measured and added together, they come to more than the familiar flat total taught for triangles on a level page. The larger the triangle drawn upon the sphere, the greater the excess grows. A being confined to that surface, measuring those angles, would find the excess and know from it alone that its world was curved, and curved in the particular way a sphere is curved, without ever once rising above the surface to look. The curvature announces itself in the sums, in the angles, in the honest measurements made upon the ground. It does not need to be seen from outside to be known. It is carried in the surface itself, readable by anyone patient enough to measure with care, and it would be exactly as real and exactly as knowable if there were no outside anywhere at all. There are other tests, and they all agree. The being can draw a great circle and compare the distance around it to the distance across it. On a flat surface, those two numbers keep a fixed and familiar relationship. On a curved surface, they drift away from it, in one direction for a ball and the other for a saddle. The being can set two lines side by side, each running as straight as a line can run, beginning perfectly parallel, and watch what happens to them far away. On a flat surface, they stay forever the same distance apart. On a surface curved like a ball, they slowly bend toward each other and eventually meet. On a saddle, they spread apart. In every case, the curvature reveals itself through measurements made entirely inside the surface, needing no view from beyond. This is the whole quiet revolution. Curvature does not have to be something a surface has by bending through a larger space. It can be something a surface simply carries within itself, a property of the distances and angles measured upon it, entirely independent of whether there is any larger space at all. A surface can be curved without curving through anything. Its shape can be complete and real and measurable, and belong to the surface alone, with no outside required to give it that shape, and no outside needed for it to be what it is. The being on the surface knows its world's shape as surely as any outside observer could, and it never once needs a beyond. Now the idea can be lifted, carefully, up into the space we actually live in. Our space has 3 dimensions rather than 2, but the same reasoning holds exactly. The shape of our space, whether it is flat or curved and in which way, is something that can be measured from within, by drawing great triangles across the cosmos and adding their angles, by comparing the sizes of distant things to their distances, by watching whether lines that start parallel stay parallel across enormous stretches. These are measurements astronomers actually make, and they can be made entirely inside our space, by observers who are themselves part of it, with no need to step outside into any higher dimension, because there is no need for any higher dimension to exist. So space carries its own geometry, intrinsically, in the same way the surface did. It can be flat. It can be curved. And here is the part that answers the whole question at last. It can change its scale over time, every distance within it, growing, and none of that requires an outside for the geometry to live in, or an outside for the space to expand through. The growth is simply the intrinsic distances increasing, the numbers that the inside measurements return, getting larger as the ages pass. There does not have to be a larger space for our space to grow into, any more than the surface needed surrounding air in order to stretch. The stretching is internal, self-contained, and complete. This is the quiet and gentle resolution of the puzzle, and it is worth saying plainly, in the simplest words, the idea allows. The universe does not need an outside in order to have a shape. The universe does not need an outside in order to grow. Both its shape and its growth are properties it carries within itself, measurable from the inside, requiring nothing beyond. When the mind insists on a surrounding space for the universe to expand into, it is asking for the very thing that intrinsic geometry shows to be unnecessary. The space can simply be, and simply grow, and need no beyond to be or to grow within. It takes time for this to feel natural, because it asks the imagination to do something it was never built to do, to picture a shape without picturing it sitting in a larger space. The eye cannot quite manage it, and that is all right. The eye is not the instrument that grasps this. The idea is grasped instead by following the measurements, by trusting that a surface can carry its own curvature and a space can carry its own growth, whether or not the mind can form the outside picture. What cannot be pictured can still be understood. And once it is understood, the question of what the universe expands into loses the ground it stood on quietly and does not find it again. Because the shape of space is something to be measured rather than assumed, the overall form of the universe is a genuine open question, one of the largest still standing. No one knows for certain whether the universe is finite or endless, or exactly how it is curved on the greatest scales. And yet, remarkably, every one of the possible answers handles the question of what it expands into in the same clean and reassuring way. Whichever shape the universe truly has, none of them requires an outside. It is worth walking through the possibilities slowly, because seeing this agreement is itself a kind of comfort. There are three broad kinds of shape that space might have, sorted by how it curves when it is taken as a whole. It might be curved so that it closes back upon itself. It might be flat, in the sense that its geometry on the largest scale is the familiar geometry of straight lines that stay parallel. Or it might be curved the opposite way, opening outward without limit. These three cases are usually called closed, flat, and open, and each has been studied with great care. The measurements made so far do not settle which one is true, though they point in a suggestive direction. But before that, consider what each shape would mean for the size of the universe and for the question at hand. Take first the closed universe, the one that curves back on itself. This is the three-dimensional cousin of the balloon's surface, one dimension higher. In such a universe, space is positively curved everywhere, bending gently around until it joins itself. A universe shaped this way is finite. It contains only so much space, a definite total and no more, exactly as the surface of a balloon has only so much area. And yet, like that surface, it has no edge anywhere. Travel through it in a straight line, on, and you would never strike a wall or reach a rim. In principle, after an unimaginable journey, you would return to where you began, having gone all the way around a universe that is finite and yet has no boundary at all. A closed universe of this kind handles the expansion beautifully. It can grow, every distance within it lengthening, becoming a larger finite space over time, and at no stage does it have an outer surface or an edge. It is like the balloon skin swelling. There is more of it as it grows, and yet nowhere that it stops, and nothing beyond it that it moves into. The growth is the swelling of a closed surface, complete in itself. Someone living inside such a universe could watch it expand for all their days and never find a boundary, because a closed shape simply does not have one. Finite, growing, and edgeless, all at once, with no beyond required. Now take the flat universe and the open universe together, because they share a remarkable feature. If space is flat on the largest scale, or curved in the opening way, then it may well be infinite, endless in every direction, going on without any limit at all. It would have no boundary, not because it curves back on itself like the closed case, but for the plainest reason there is, because it never comes to an end. There would be no edge, because there would be no last place, only more space, always more, in every direction, without stopping. This is a difficult idea to hold, endlessness taken not as a poetic flourish, but as a literal fact about the extent of space. What do the measurements say among these three? The careful answer is that the universe is found to be very close to flat, as nearly flat as anyone has been able to measure, with no clear sign of curvature in either direction on the largest scales examined. This is consistent with a universe that is flat and infinite, and it is also consistent with a universe so enormous that its curvature is simply too gentle to detect across the part we can see, the way a small patch of an immense sphere looks flat to anyone standing on it. Measurement can narrow the possibilities, but it can never fully prove true endlessness, because no instrument can survey an infinity to confirm it. So the question remains open, and honestly so. Yet notice what has quietly happened across all three cases. In the closed universe, space is finite but has no edge, and it grows without any outer surface moving into anything. In the flat universe and the open universe, space may be endless, and an endless thing plainly has no edge and nothing beyond it into which to grow. Every possibility, without exception, answers the original question the same way. In none of them is there a boundary of space advancing into a surrounding emptiness. The shape of the universe is genuinely uncertain. The absence of an outside is not. Whichever of these forms the cosmos truly takes, the expansion is internal, and there is no beyond for it to enter. There is a further gentle point worth adding about the endless cases, because it surprises almost everyone the first time. If the universe is infinite now, then it was infinite from its earliest moments as well. Endlessness is not something a universe can grow into gradually, starting finite and becoming infinite along the way. A thing is either boundless or it is not, and if it is boundless today, it was boundless when it was young. What has changed across all that time is not the extent, which was always without limit, but the density. Long ago, an infinite universe was infinite and dense, every part of it packed close and hot. Today it is infinite and thin, the same endless extent, only far more spread out. It did not grow from small to large. It thinned from dense to sparse, while remaining, throughout, without end. This is a strange and lovely thing to know, and it points toward the next step. In a finite closed universe, the meaning of expansion is fairly plain, a closed surface swelling to a larger closed surface. But in an endless universe, the meaning of expansion becomes something subtler and quieter, because an endless thing cannot become larger in any straightforward sense. There is no more that could be added to endlessness. And yet such a universe expands, its distances all growing, in a way that is entirely real and entirely measurable. To understand how a boundless thing can grow while remaining exactly as boundless as before is to understand the softest and most complete form of the whole answer. That is where the path leads next. The case of an infinite universe expanding is the one that most sharply breaks the everyday picture, and precisely because it breaks it so cleanly, it is the one most worth walking through with care. If space is already endless, going on without limit in every direction, then it cannot become larger by adding new territory somewhere out beyond, because there is no beyond and no somewhere for the new territory to go. Endlessness is already as much extent as extent can be. There is no rim to push outward, no frontier to extend, no more to acquire. And so, a fair question arises, one that sounds almost like an objection. If the universe is already infinite, then what, exactly, is growing when it expands? The answer is that the distances within it are growing while the whole remains just as boundless as before. This is the subtle thing. Expansion in an endless universe is not the whole becoming bigger, for the whole was never any particular size to become bigger than. Expansion is every separation within it, lengthening. Take any two distant galaxies, anywhere in that endless space, and the gap between them widens as time passes. Do this everywhere, throughout an extent that has no end, and every gap everywhere is widening at once. Yet the total is no larger than before, because the total was never finite, and endlessness does not become more endless by having its inner distances stretched. There is a plain arithmetic that makes this less mysterious, drawn from the ordinary behavior of numbers without end. Consider all the whole numbers, 1 and 2 and 3, and onward, forever. There are infinitely many of them. Now imagine doubling each one, so that the gaps between them grow, and where numbers once sat a single step apart, they now sit 2 steps apart. The spacing has expanded. Every gap is wider than it was. And yet, there are exactly as many numbers as before, still without end, still infinite, no more and no fewer. The collection did not grow larger in total. Only the spacing within it increased. An endless universe expands in just this way. The gaps all widen, and the whole stays exactly as endless as it always was. What actually changes, then, is not the size of the universe, but its density. Long ago, when the same endless space was young, everything within it lay close together, crowded and hot, matter packed tightly through an extent that was already without limit. As the distances lengthened, everything drew apart, and the same amount of matter came to occupy ever wider separations. The universe grew thinner, more dilute, more spread out, cooler and quieter, while its extent stayed exactly what it had always been, unbounded. Expansion, in this light, is not a reaching outward at all. It is a thinning. It is the same endless universe, growing gradually more spacious within itself, its contents easing apart into the widening gaps between them. This is why, in an endless universe, there is nothing whatsoever for the expansion to move into, and the very idea has no place to attach. There is no outer surface anywhere, because the universe never comes to an outer anything. There is no last galaxy with emptiness beyond it, no final layer of space with a void on the far side. However far one travels, in whatever direction, there is always more universe ahead, endlessly. A boundary is exactly the thing that an endless universe does not and cannot have. And without a boundary, there is nothing that could advance, and nowhere for it to advance to. The expansion is purely and entirely internal, a change in the spacing of an unbounded whole, with no exterior even in principle. It is worth pausing on how gentle this makes the whole affair, once the strangeness is accepted. Nothing is being invaded. Nothing is being pushed into. No frontier of matter is racing into a waiting dark. There is only an endless calm space, the same size it always was because it never had a size, growing slowly less crowded as its contents drift apart. The galaxies do not flee toward any edge, because there is no edge to flee toward. They simply ease away from one another, everywhere, at the same unhurried pace, in a universe that receives this loosening without being enlarged by it, because it was already as large as anything can be. There is even a quiet answer here to a worry the mind sometimes raises. The worry that expansion means the universe is running out towards something, using itself up, heading somewhere final. In an endless universe, it is doing nothing of the kind. It is not running out, because there is no out to run toward. It is not being used up, because thinning is not depletion, only spreading. It is not heading anywhere, because it has no boundary whose motion could count as heading. It is simply becoming more spacious in place, forever, with no destination and no diminishment, an endless thing growing gently more open within its own endlessness. Not everyone believes the universe is truly infinite, of course, and the closed and finite case remains fully possible, as the shape of space is not yet settled. But whether the universe is endless, or merely enormous and closed, the same essential truth holds in both. In the endless case, the distances widen, while the boundless whole stays boundless. In the finite closed case, the distances widen, while the edgeless whole stays edgeless. Neither has an outside, and neither moves into anything, the expansion is internal in every version of the story. And in the endless version especially, it takes on its softest possible form, a slow, calm, everywhere loosening of a universe that is going nowhere and needs to go nowhere, because it is already all there is. There is a real boundary in the story of the universe, and it needs to be spoken of plainly, because it is the thing most often mistaken for the edge that the universe supposedly expands into. It is called the edge of the observable universe, and it is real in its own way. But it is not a wall in space, and it is not something the universe presses against or moves into. Understanding what it truly is clears away the last great source of confusion and reveals a boundary that is, in the end, made not of space, but of time. Start from a simple fact about light. Light travels quickly, but not instantly, and this means that whenever anything distant is seen, it is seen not as it is now, but as it was when its light set out. To look far across space is always to look back across time. The farther away a thing lies, the longer its light has been traveling, and the further into the past the view reaches. When a very distant galaxy is observed, it is seen as it was long ago, in the light that left it in the distant past, and has only now completed its long crossing to arrive here. Every glance outward is a glance backward, and the two cannot be separated. Now add the second fact. The universe has been expanding for a great but finite stretch of time, an enormous age, but not an endless one. Light, in all that time, has been able to travel only so far. There is a greatest distance from which light could have set out early, and only now be arriving, having spent the whole age of the universe on its journey. Beyond that distance, any light that may exist has simply not had time to reach here yet. It is still on its way, or it will never arrive. That greatest distance, the farthest from which anything can so far be seen, marks the edge of the observable universe. It is the limit of the view, the boundary of what light has had time to show. Here is the thing to hold clearly. This edge is a limit of sight, not a wall in the world. It does not mark a place where the universe stops. It marks a place where our view stops, for now, because light from farther out has not yet had the time to cross the widening distance and reach us. Beyond that edge, the universe assuredly continues. There are more galaxies out there, scattered as evenly as those within view, but their light is still in transit, or has been stretched away too far, and so they remain, for the present, unseen. The edge of the observable universe is the edge of what can be witnessed, and nothing more. This is why it is truer to call it an edge in time than an edge in space. It is set by the age of the universe and by the speed of light, by how long there has been for light to travel and how fast that travel goes. It is a horizon of information, a boundary of the reachable past, drawn around the observer by the finite time that light has had to come to them. It behaves nothing like a wall. As time passes and the universe grows older, light, from ever farther out, has the chance to arrive, and in that sense, the horizon shifts. It is a limit that moves with time because it is made of time, a boundary on seeing rather than a boundary on being. There is one more feature that shows plainly that this is no true edge of the universe, and it is this. The observable universe is centered on the observer. Every observer, everywhere, sits at the middle of their own observable sphere, seeing out to their own horizon in every direction. That horizon set by how far light has reached them. This is exactly like standing on open water and seeing the circle of the horizon all around, with oneself at its center, no matter where on the water one stands. The horizon at sea is not an edge of the water. It is an edge of vision, personal to a viewpoint, moving as the viewer moves. The edge of the observable universe is the same. It surrounds each observer individually, which is precisely what a real edge of space could never do. So there are two entirely different things that the single word edge has been quietly confusing. There is the imagined edge of the universe, an outer boundary of space with a beyond on its far side, the thing the universe was supposed to expand into. That edge, so far as anyone can tell, does not exist. And there is the edge of the observable universe, the horizon of what light has had time to reveal, personal to each observer and made of time. That edge is real, but it is a boundary of sight, not of space. And the universe does not expand into it any more than the sea expands into the horizon. Keeping the two apart dissolves a confusion that has troubled the question from the start. The picture that remains is quieter and cleaner than the one the mind began with. There is no wall of space out there in the dark. There is only a horizon of seeing, drawn softly around every observer by the patient speed of light and the finite age of the growing universe. Within it lie all the galaxies whose light has had time to arrive. Beyond it lies more of the same, unseen for now, waiting in the direction of the more distant past. Nothing about this horizon is a surface the universe presses against. It is the gentle limit of a view, nothing more, and the universe, whatever its true extent, simply continues past it, calm and unbounded, into the distances that light has not yet crossed. Everything said so far rests on a single claim, that space itself is expanding, and it is fair to ask how anyone could possibly know such a thing. It is one matter to describe how a growing space would behave, and quite another to show that our space is really growing. The expansion is not a guess, nor a preference, nor a story chosen because it is soothing. It is read directly from the light of distant galaxies, in a signal so clear and so consistent that it is very hard to explain any other way. The evidence arrives, quietly, in the color of that light. To follow it, begin with the nature of light itself. Light travels as waves, and the length of those waves determines the color that is seen. Shorter waves fall toward the blue end of what the eye can perceive, and longer waves toward the red. This is true not only for visible light, but for all of it, the whole range, from the shortest, most energetic waves to the longest and gentlest. Stretch a wave of light to a greater length, and it shifts toward the red, and beyond red into forms of light the eye cannot see at all. The length of the wave is the thing to watch, because it is the thing that the expansion quietly changes. Now consider what happens to a wave of light as it crosses the growing space between a distant galaxy and here. The light sets out, traveling steadily, and while it is in flight, the space it is passing through is expanding. Every stretch of space along its path is slowly lengthening beneath it as it goes. And because the wave is spread out across that expanding space, the wave is stretched along with it. Its length grows as the space grows, drawn out gradually across the whole long journey, so that it arrives with a longer wave than it began with. The light leaves at one color and arrives shifted toward the red, not because anything about the galaxy has changed, but because space itself grew while the light was crossing it. This reddening is exactly what astronomers observe, and they observe it everywhere they look. The light of distant galaxies arrives shifted toward the red, its waves lengthened in just the way expanding space would lengthen them. And there is a pattern in it that seals the case. The farther away a galaxy lies, the more its light is reddened, in a steady and orderly relationship. This is precisely what should be expected if space is expanding, because light from a more distant galaxy has crossed more space and spent more time crossing it, and so has had more of its waves stretched along the way. The nearer galaxies show a little reddening. The far ones show a great deal. The amount grows with distance, cleanly, across the whole observable universe. It is worth letting the orderliness of this settle, because the orderliness is what makes the case so strong. If the reddening were caused by galaxies simply drifting about at random through a fixed space, there would be no reason for it to grow so steadily with distance. Some near galaxies would be reddened, and some shifted the other way in no particular pattern, according to how each one happened to be moving. Instead, the reddening follows distance faithfully, more distant meaning more reddened, in a smooth and dependable relation that holds across the whole sky and in every direction at once. That steady climb is the signature of expanding space, not of scattered motion, because only a growth of the space along the path could produce so orderly a link between how far the light has traveled and how much its waves have been stretched. The pattern is far too regular to be the work of galaxies wandering at random. It is the quiet, even fingerprint of space itself, growing. It is worth being careful here about what this reddening is and is not, because the distinction is the whole point. It is tempting to imagine that the galaxies are simply rushing away through space, like objects hurled outward, and that their light is reddened by their flight. There is an everyday effect of that kind, a shift in a wave caused by motion through space, familiar from the way a passing sound changes pitch as it goes by. But the reddening of distant galaxies is mainly not that. It is not chiefly the galaxies moving through space. It is the space along the light's path having grown during the journey, stretching the wave from within. The galaxies are, for the most part, sitting still in their own patches of space, and it is the space between that has lengthened. This is a subtle and important thing, and it changes the meaning of what is seen. If the galaxies were merely flying apart through a fixed space, their reddening would be a story about motion, about velocities and directions, about things traveling. Instead, it is a story about space itself, about the ground between the galaxies lengthening while their light is upon it. The reddening is a direct measure of how much the universe has grown during the time the light was traveling. A light that arrives with its waves stretched to twice its original length has crossed a space that has doubled in scale since the light set out. The color of ancient light is a record of the growth of space across the age of its journey. Because of this, the reddening of distant light does something quietly extraordinary. It lets the growth of the universe be read backward through time, like rings in old wood. Light from nearby galaxies, having traveled only a short while, records only recent and modest growth and arrives just faintly reddened. Light from very distant galaxies, having traveled across immense stretches of time, records the growth of the universe across all those ages and arrives strongly reddened, its waves greatly lengthened. By gathering light from many distances at once, the whole history of the expansion can be traced, step by step, each galaxy's color reporting how much space had grown by the time its light was on the way. None of this requires an edge, or a center, or an outside. The reddening happens along the path of the light, in the space between the galaxies, everywhere, in every direction. It is the same on every side of the sky, which is exactly what a centerless, edgeless expansion should produce. It does not point to any place the universe is fleeing from, nor to any boundary it is moving toward. It points only inward, to the space along the way, growing quietly as light crosses it. The most direct evidence that the universe expands is also, fittingly, evidence that the expansion is internal, a stretching of the space between things, needing no beyond to occur in. So the growth of the universe is not an assumption laid over the sky. It is written in the color of the light that crosses it, a reddening that increases with distance in a steady and orderly way, precisely as expanding space would require. Every distant galaxy, in the gentle lengthening of its light, quietly confirms the same thing. Space is growing everywhere, and has been for a very long time. And of all the evidence for it, the clearest and most ancient is a single glow that fills the entire sky, the oldest light there is, which carries the story back nearly to the beginning. There is one light in the universe older than any star, older than any galaxy, and it is the most powerful evidence of all that space has grown. It does not come from any single object. It comes from everywhere, filling the whole sky evenly in every direction, a faint and steady glow that bathes all of space. It is the oldest light that exists, released in the universe's early youth, and it has been traveling ever since, across the whole age of the cosmos, stretched all the while by the growth of the space it crosses. To understand where it came from is to see the expansion written across the entire sky at once. Long ago, when the universe was young, it was not the cool and open place it is now. It was hot and dense, and everywhere crowded, its matter packed close and glowing fiercely. In those early ages, the whole of space was filled with a brilliant, blinding fog, so hot and so thick that light could not travel freely through it. Light was forever being scattered, absorbed, and thrown aside almost the moment it set out, unable to cross any real distance. The early universe was luminous but opaque, a glowing mist through which no clear light could pass, everywhere at once, in every part of that dense and youthful space. As the universe expanded, it thinned, and as it thinned, it cooled. There came a time when it had grown open enough and cool enough that the fog lifted all across space in the same span of time. The scattering ceased, and light was set free at last to travel in straight and unbroken lines. The light that happened to be crossing space at that moment simply carried on, released to fly onward without hindrance. It set out then, from every part of the young universe, in every direction, and a great deal of it has been traveling ever since, never again stopped, crossing the widening space for the entire age that has passed since the fog cleared. That freed light is the glow that fills the sky today. It has been traveling for nearly the whole life of the universe, and all that time the space it crosses has been expanding, stretching its waves along the way. When it first set out, it was the fierce light of a hot and glowing cosmos, bright and full of energy, its waves short. Across the enormous journey since, space has grown by an immense factor, and the light has been stretched by that same factor, its waves drawn out longer and longer, its fierce heat cooling and softening as it came. What set out as a blaze arrives now as the faintest of glows, its energy stretched down into the gentlest and longest waves, a cold whisper of the fire it once was. This is why the oldest light is such complete evidence for the growth of space. The amount by which it has been stretched, from a fierce heat down to a cold and faint hum, is a direct measure of how much the universe has expanded since that early time. It is an enormous stretch, a lengthening of its waves by a factor far larger than anything a mere motion could produce. Only the growth of space across the whole age of the universe can account for it. The very existence of this glow, arriving cold and stretched from every direction, is the expansion made visible, a single light that has ridden the growth of space across almost all of time. Two things about this glow speak especially clearly to the questions of this night. The first is that it arrives from every direction at once, evenly, filling the whole sky. This is exactly what a beginning that happened everywhere should look like. It is not a blast seen coming from one point, not a flash off in some particular corner of the sky with darkness elsewhere. It is a warmth soaked evenly through the whole of space, arriving on all sides equally, because it was released everywhere at once, throughout the young universe, with no special place and no center. The oldest light does not point back to a spot where it all began. It points back to a time, one that touched every place alike. The second is that this glow is almost perfectly even across the entire sky, the same in one direction as in any other, to a remarkable degree. This astonishing sameness is powerful evidence that the universe truly is the same in all directions and from all places, without a center and without an edge, exactly as the whole story has required. If the universe had a center, or an edge, or some special place, the oldest light would betray it, arriving warmer on one side and cooler on another, brighter in one direction than the rest. Instead, it arrives even on every side to an extraordinary precision. The sky's oldest light confirms, more directly than anything else, that there is no favored place and no boundary anywhere. So the most ancient light there is carries the whole message at once. It shows that space has grown by the enormous stretch that cooled it from a blaze to a whisper. It shows that the beginning happened everywhere, by arriving evenly from all directions rather than from a point. And it shows that the universe has no center and no edge, by its remarkable sameness across the whole sky. All of this is written in a glow so faint and so gentle that it went unnoticed through the entire history of human looking until instruments grew sensitive enough to feel it. It has been there the whole time, the oldest light, falling softly on every part of the sky, quietly telling anyone able to listen that space is growing and has no edge to grow from. For a long while, it seemed natural to expect the expansion of the universe to be gradually slowing down. The reasoning was gentle and sensible. Space is filled with matter, and all matter pulls on all other matter through gravity, always drawing things together. That inward pull should act against the growth of space, working to slow the separation of the galaxies over time, the way a ball thrown upward is slowed by the pull of the ground. The expectation, then, was of an expansion easing off across the ages, its pace softening as the gravity of everything within the universe quietly reined it in. It was a reasonable thing to expect, and it turned out not to be what happens. What the light of distant galaxies actually reveals is that the expansion is not slowing at all. It is speeding up. The separation of distant galaxies is not easing off with time, but quickening. The growth of space gathering pace across the ages rather than losing it. This was not the expected result, and it asked for something new in the account of the universe, something acting against gravity's inward pull and winning. Whatever that something is, its effect is now clearly measured. The universe is not merely expanding. Its expansion is accelerating, growing faster as time goes on, in a way that gravity alone could never produce. The cause of this acceleration is given a name, though the name is really a placeholder for something not yet understood. It is usually called dark energy, and the words should be heard as an honest confession of ignorance rather than an explanation. Dark energy is the name for whatever it is that drives the expansion faster, a property that seems to belong to space itself, present evenly throughout it, gently pushing the distances to grow at an ever-increasing rate. What it truly is remains one of the largest open questions in all of science, unanswered and quietly enormous. Its nature is unknown. Its effect is not. The growth of space is speeding up, and dark energy is the name given to the reason, whatever that reason turns out to be. It is worth being clear that this acceleration, mysterious as it is, changes nothing about the central answer of this night. A faster expansion is still an expansion of space, an internal stretching, a lengthening of the distances between unbound things. It is not a wind blowing the galaxies through space toward an edge. It is not a boundary advancing more quickly into a beyond. It is the same interior growth as before, the same widening of the empty gaps, only proceeding at a quickening pace. The universe speeding up its expansion is not the universe finding somewhere new to expand into. It is the universe growing more spacious within itself, a little faster than it used to, for reasons not yet known. And like all of the expansion, this acceleration touches only the unbound distances and leaves everything held together untouched. It works in the wide, empty gaps between the galaxies and the great gatherings of galaxies, where nothing binds and nothing resists. It does not reach inside atoms, or worlds, or stars, or single galaxies, or the bound groups of them, all of which stay whole, held by their own forces far more strongly than dark energy can loosen. The Earth is not being torn from the Sun by the accelerating expansion. The galaxy is not coming apart. Only the emptiest and widest distances, out where almost nothing lies, are growing wider at a quickening pace, in the places that were nearly empty to begin with. There is a long and gradual consequence of this speeding up, though, and it is worth approaching gently because it can sound lonelier than it needs to. A universe whose expansion is accelerating is a universe in which the widest gaps grow not just wider, but ever more quickly wider. Over immense stretches of time, this changes what can be reached and what can be seen. Galaxies that are far enough away are carried apart from us so rapidly and ever more rapidly that the space between us and them grows faster than their light can cross it. Their light, in time, can no longer close the widening distance. It is stretched away and never arrives. And so, one by one, across ages beyond ordinary imagining, the most distant galaxies slip quietly beyond the reach of any possible seeing. This slow slipping away is not a catastrophe, and it is not a nearby event. It unfolds across spans of time so long that they dwarf the whole history of everything familiar, and it touches only the most distant galaxies, those already at the faint edge of the observable. Nothing close is lost. The galaxy holds together. Its neighbors, bound to it, remain. The night sky, as anyone would recognize it, is not going dark. What changes over almost unthinkable ages is only the farthest reaches, the dim and distant galaxies at the limit of sight, which gradually withdraw beyond the horizon of what light can ever bring. The universe does not empty toward some edge. It simply grows so spacious, so gradually, that its farthest members ease out of view. And even here, at the accelerating edge of the whole story, the answer to the original question does not change. The universe is not expanding into anything, even as it expands faster. It is growing more open within itself, its distances lengthening at a quickening pace, its bound islands untouched, its farthest light slowly withdrawing into the far dark. There is no edge racing outward, no boundary gaining speed as it presses into a beyond. There is only space, growing, and growing a little faster, everywhere at once, with neither a center to speed away from nor a margin to rush toward. The acceleration is real and strange, and still entirely internal, a quiet quickening of a growth that goes nowhere, but more fully into itself. It helps, after all of this, to place the expansion against the enormous scale of time on which it works, because the numbers involved are so large that they quietly soften everything. The growth of space is real and steady, but it is also extraordinarily slow by any measure a person could feel. Across a human life, across all of recorded memory, across the whole span since the first stories were told under the sky, The distances between the galaxies have grown by an amount too small to notice without the most careful instruments. The universe expands, but it does so at a pace that makes the longest human timescales seem like a single held breath. This means that nothing about the expansion touches anything on the scale of a life, or a civilization, or even the whole existence of a world. The changes the expansion brings unfold across billions of years and far beyond, across stretches of time, so long that the entire history of everything familiar is only the faintest sliver of them. The slow withdrawing of the most distant galaxies, the gradual thinning of the widest gaps, the far-off emptying of the farthest reaches of the sky, all of these belong to ages so immense that they lie utterly beyond ordinary concern. They are real, and they are gentle, and they are unimaginably far away in time. On every scale that could ever be felt, the universe is not going anywhere. The galaxy holds together, turning slowly as it always has, and will keep its shape for an almost endless future. Its neighboring galaxies, bound to it, remain its neighbors, and some of them draw slowly closer rather than farther. The stars overhead keep their places across all of human time. The sun keeps its distance. The earth keeps its orbit. Everything near, everything bound, everything that could ever matter to a living thing stays exactly as it is, untouched by the growth of the widest distances, which works only far out in the emptiest places over ages beyond counting. There is something quietly reassuring in this, and it is worth letting it land fully. The expansion of the universe is often described in ways that sound dramatic or final, as though the cosmos were racing towards some cold conclusion that ought to trouble anyone who hears of it. But the pace tells another story. Whatever the far future holds, it holds it so slowly and so far off that it changes nothing about the sky anyone will ever see, or the ground anyone will ever stand on, or the quiet of any night anyone will ever rest through. The growth is patient beyond all patience. It asks nothing of the present, and it takes nothing from it. There is a plain way to feel how gentle the pace truly is. The growth of the widest cosmic distances across an entire human lifetime is so slight that no eye and no ordinary instrument could ever notice it directly. It takes the light of far galaxies, gathered with great care, to reveal the growth at all, and even then, only because that light has been traveling for ages and has had ages in which to be stretched. Within the span of any single life, and within the span of all the lives there have ever been laid end to end, the sky holds essentially still. The galaxies do not visibly part. The distances do not perceptibly widen. The expansion is a thing measured across billions of years, and on any span shorter than that, it is, for every purpose that could ever be felt, no motion at all. What unfolds across the ages leaves the present exactly as it found it, calm and full and unhurried. It is even possible to see the present moment as a kind of privilege, rather than a thing being slowly lost. Because the universe is still relatively young, and the widest gaps have not yet grown so great, the sky is full. The distant galaxies are still within reach of the light, still able to be seen, still gathered close enough that their glow can cross to here. There is a fullness to the cosmos now, a crowdedness of far light that belongs especially to this long, early stretch of the universe's life. Anyone looking outward now looks out upon a sky richer with distant galaxies than the far future will hold. This is a fortunate time to be looking, and there is no need to mourn a thinning that lies ages beyond any horizon of concern. None of this slow future, in any case, involves the universe expanding into anything. That must be said again, gently, because the long timescales can make the far future feel like a journey toward some destination. It is not. The universe across all those ages is not traveling anywhere, not approaching any edge, not arriving at any beyond. It is only growing more spacious in place, more slowly than anything can be felt, its bound islands holding, its widest distances easing apart across spans of time, without meaning on any human scale. The future of the expansion is not a going somewhere. It is a very long, very quiet staying here, growing gradually more open, forever. So the immense scale of time, far from making the expansion frightening, is exactly what makes it restful. The universe grows, but so slowly that its growth is a kind of stillness. Its farthest changes lie so far ahead that they belong to no one's night. Everything near and dear and bright stays as it is, held together across all the time that could ever be lived. And the whole slow future of the growing universe unfolds without any edge, any center, any destination, or any beyond, a patient and unhurried opening of a space that is going nowhere and taking all the time there is to get there. With all of this gathered together, it becomes possible to return to the original question and look at it directly, in the calm light of everything that has been said. The question was simple and honest. If the universe is expanding, what is it expanding into? And the strange, quiet answer that has been forming across this whole night can finally be stated plainly. The universe is not expanding into anything. There does not appear to be an into. The question, for all its naturalness, seems to rest on a picture that the universe does not provide. Look closely at what the question quietly assumes. The words, "What is it expanding into?" carry a hidden premise, so hidden that it is almost never noticed. They assume that there is an into at all, a surrounding space, a larger emptiness, a container in which the universe sits and toward which it grows. The whole question is built on that assumed container. And everything examined across this night, from the balloon's edgeless surface to the intrinsic geometry that needs no outside, from the centerless recession to the horizon made of time, points to the same conclusion. There is no observed container. There is no evidence for the surrounding space the question takes for granted. The premise is the very thing that fails. There is a well-worn comparison that makes the trouble easy to feel, and it is worth walking through slowly because it captures the shape of the whole difficulty. Imagine standing at the northernmost point on the earth, at the very top of the world, and asking, which way is north? Every word in the question is ordinary. The grammar is perfect. It has the exact shape of a question that ought to have an answer. And yet, it has none, not because the answer is hidden or hard to find, but because north simply runs out at that point. There is no further north to point to. The question is well formed in language, and empty in fact, asking for a direction that does not exist at the place where it is asked. The question of what the universe expands into may be a question of exactly this kind. It is grammatical, familiar, and easy to ask. It sounds as though it must have an answer, because so many simpler questions of the same shape do. But it may point, like the question of what lies north of the north, at something the structure of reality does not contain. There may be no into for the universe to expand toward, not because the answer is unknown, but because the thing the question asks for is not there to be found. The universe may simply be all there is, space and time and everything within them taken together, with no outside, no surrounding, and no beyond for the question to indicate. This is a different kind of answer than the question expects, and it is worth being honest about that. The question asks where, and the answer is not a where at all. It does not name a place the universe is expanding into. It gently points out that the question was looking for a place that does not exist, and that the looking itself was the mistake. This can feel, at first, like being denied an answer. But it is not a denial. It is a fuller reply than the question knew to ask for. It says that the universe does not need somewhere to grow into, that the growing is complete in itself, and that the missing container was never missing, because it was never there to begin with. None of this is a trick of words, and none of it is a way of dodging the question. It is what the whole body of evidence and every consistent description of the universe actually says. Space carries its own geometry and can grow without an outside. The recession has no center and no edge. The only real boundary is a horizon of sight, made of time, not a wall of space. And the light of the sky, from the reddened galaxies to the oldest glow of all, records a growth that is everywhere and internal, needing no beyond. The question comes apart, not because anyone has refused to answer it, but because, followed honestly, it dissolves into the recognition that its central assumption was never true. And so the question that sounded so simple at the beginning turns out to be the gentlest kind of puzzle, one that does not need to be solved so much as gently set down. It was built on a picture borrowed from ordinary life, of things that expand into the spaces around them. The universe is not a thing of that kind. It is the space, and it grows within itself, and there is no around for it to expand into. The question was a good one, and asking it led all this way, through the surface with no edge, and the shape measured from inside, and the horizon made of time. But its answer, in the end, is that there is nothing it is expanding into, and that this absence is not a gap in our knowledge, but a feature of the world. It would not be fair or fully honest to leave the question without acknowledging the places where knowledge grows uncertain, because there are such places, and they deserve a gentle and careful word. To say that the universe is not expanding into anything is the plain and well-supported answer, the one that follows from everything that can be measured. But there are ideas at the outer edges of the science that wonder whether our universe might be part of something larger, and honesty asks that they be mentioned, so long as they are held lightly and kept in their proper place. Some serious thinking explores the possibility that what we call the universe might be one region within a broader arena, or one among some wider collection of universes. These are not idle fancies, and they arise from real attempts to understand the innermost workings of space and time. But they are, without exception, speculative. They lie beyond what can be observed. They are not established facts about the world, and they may never be testable at all. They are best understood as open questions at the far edge of inquiry, ideas that careful people take seriously as possibilities, while being the first to admit that they are unconfirmed and may always remain so. They are the honest edge of what is known, and they should be spoken of as exactly that. Here is the important thing to notice about all such ideas, though. Even if some larger structure were real, even if our universe did turn out to be one part of some greater arena, it would still not give the mind the thing it was reaching for. It would not supply the empty expanse that the original question imagined, the waiting darkness into which the universe swells. It would only move the same question one step outward. If our universe sat within a larger something, then one could simply ask what that larger something sits within, and the same puzzle would return, unchanged, at the new and grander scale. The intuition of a surrounding emptiness is not rescued by these ideas. It is only relocated and left just as unsupported as before. So even the most speculative and generous possibilities do not restore the everyday picture. They do not turn out to hide, at some hidden level, the surrounding void that ordinary thinking assumes. Whatever larger structure might or might not exist, the plain answer for the universe we actually know remains the same. It is not expanding into anything that has ever been observed or that any working description requires. The growth is internal, everywhere, and complete in itself, and the speculative arenas beyond it, real or not, are simply further unknowns, not the empty container the question was looking for. This is why the honest edge of knowledge, far from unsettling the answer, quietly confirms its spirit. The universe does not need an outside, and even the ideas that imagine one for it do not provide the kind of outside the mind first wanted. Every path leads back to the same calm place. The surrounding emptiness that seemed so obvious at the start is nowhere to be found, not in the geometry, not in the observations, not even in the boldest speculations at the far frontier. It was an assumption carried in from ordinary life, and it does not survive contact with the universe at any level the mind can reach. There is a kind of peace available in accepting this honestly, in holding both the plain answer and the open questions together without forcing either. What is known is enough to answer the original question. The universe is not expanding into anything. What is not known, the large and possibly unanswerable questions about whether there is any larger arena at all, can be left as open questions, resting quietly at the edge of understanding, neither denied nor pretended into certainty. It is possible to know the answer to the question that was asked, and to let the further mysteries stay mysteries, without any unease. The not knowing at the far edge does not threaten the knowing closer in. And so the honest picture, edges and all, is a settled and gentle one. At the center of it stands a clear answer, that the universe grows within itself and expands into nothing observed or required. Around that answer lie open questions, held lightly, about whether there is any greater structure beyond, questions that even if answered would not change the shape of the reply. There is no need to resolve the far mysteries in order to rest in the near answer. The universe is not expanding into anything, and beyond that, some things remain unknown, and both of those can be true at once, quietly, without any trouble at all. It is worth asking, gently and without any judgment, why the idea of a universe with no outside is so hard to hold, when the reasoning behind it is not really so complicated. The difficulty is not a failure of anyone's thinking. It is built into the way the mind learns about the world at all. From the very beginning, a person learns about space by living inside bounded places, each one nested within a larger one. A body sits within the space around it. That space opens onto wider spaces beyond. Every enclosure a person has ever known has had something outside it, always, without a single exception, in all of ordinary experience. Out of a lifetime of this, the mind draws a quiet and reasonable rule. Everything is inside something. Every space is surrounded by a larger space. Anything that grows into the space around it. This rule is not foolish. It is true, everywhere within reach, for everything a person will ever directly handle or see. It has never once failed in the whole of ordinary life. And so the mind applies it to the universe as naturally as breathing, and expects the universe, like everything else, to sit inside some larger space and to grow into the emptiness around it. The expectation is not a mistake of reasoning. It is a faithful habit, carried into the one place where it does not hold. The universe is the single exception to the rule, and it is an exception precisely because of what the word means. The universe is not one more space among others, one more enclosure to be set inside a larger one. It is the whole of space, taken all together. And the whole of space is exactly the thing that has no larger space to sit within, because there is no space left over, outside of all space, to contain it. The rule that everything is inside something breaks at the one case that includes everything, for the plain reason that there is nothing left outside of everything to be the something it is inside of. The mind has simply never had to think about a case like this before, because there is only one, and it is the largest one there is. This is why the answer cannot quite be pictured, and why that inability is nothing to be troubled by. The mind forms pictures by placing things inside a surrounding space, because that is how every picture it has ever made has worked. Asked to picture the universe, it dutifully places it inside a surrounding space, and then that surrounding space becomes the imagined outside, the void the universe seems to grow into. The picturing itself manufactures the very outside that the reasoning has shown does not exist. The failure to imagine a universe with no outside is not a failure to understand it. It is only the mind doing the one thing it knows how to do, in the single case where that thing does not apply. So the right response to not being able to picture it is not frustration, but a kind of ease. The idea can be understood without being pictured. It can be followed through the reasoning, held in the measurements, trusted through the geometry, even where the eye cannot form the image. A person does not need to see a universe with no outside in the mind's eye in order to know that it grows within itself and expands into nothing. The knowing lives in the understanding, not in the picture. And once that is accepted, the strain of trying to force the image simply falls away, and what is left is the calm fact, held quietly, needing no picture to be true. There is even something freeing in letting the picture go. The mind spends a great deal of effort trying to build the surrounding void, trying to see the outside, trying to stand somewhere beyond everything and look back at it whole. All of that effort is spent chasing a thing that is not there. When it is set down, when the demand for an outside picture is gently released, the whole question grows lighter. There is nothing out there to picture, and so there is nothing that the failure to picture it leaves out. The universe is not hiding its outside from the imagination. It simply has none, and the imagination can rest from the search. And so the very thing that made the answer hard becomes, in the end, part of what makes it restful. The mind reaches for an outside because it has only ever known insides, and that reaching is honest and understandable. But the reaching can stop. The rule that everything is inside something is a rule about the things within the universe, not about the universe itself, and it was never meant to stretch that far. Let it not stretch that far. Let the one exception be an exception. The universe is the whole of space, with no outside to be pictured and none to be missed, and the mind, having understood this, can let the search for the outside come quietly to an end. Now that the answer has taken shape, it is worth gathering up a few of the pictures that led the question astray and setting each of them down, one by one, gently, the way one sets down things no longer needed at the end of a day. None of them was foolish. Each was a reasonable image drawn from ordinary life, and each captured something real while quietly adding something false. Naming them plainly and letting them go leaves the mind lighter and the answer clearer. The first picture to set aside is the picture of an explosion. It is the most natural image for a universe that grows, a great blast at the beginning, throwing matter outward in all directions from a single point, the galaxies still flying outward now as the debris of that first blast. It is a vivid image, and it gets one thing right, that the universe was once dense and hot and has grown and cooled. But it gets the essential thing wrong. There was no point that it happened at, no center it flew out from, no surrounding emptiness it exploded into. The beginning happened everywhere at once, throughout all of space, not at a spot within space. The explosion picture places the event at a point and surrounds it with a void, and both the point and the void are things to let go. It can help to notice why the explosion picture is so stubborn, so that it can be released more fully. Every explosion anyone has ever seen has happened within a space already there, throwing its pieces outward into surrounding air, watched from outside by someone safely apart from it. The mind has no other model for a sudden and forceful beginning, and so it fits that model to the birth of the universe out of sheer habit. But the beginning of the universe was not an event within space, watched from without. It was an event of space itself, unfolding throughout the whole of it at once, with no outside vantage from which anyone could ever have watched the pieces fly. There were no pieces flung into a surrounding emptiness. There was only space, everywhere, dense and hot, beginning quietly to grow. Once the watching outsider and the surrounding air are given up, the explosion picture loosens and falls away, and what remains is the gentler truth of a growth that began everywhere and flew out from nowhere. The second picture to set aside is the picture of an outrunning edge. It is the image of an outermost shell of galaxies, the leading edge of everything, racing outward into unclaimed space ahead of it, forever pushing the boundary of the universe farther into the beyond. It follows naturally from the explosion picture, and it fails for the same reason. There is no outermost shell. There is no leading edge. Every galaxy has other galaxies around it in every direction, as far as anything can be seen, with no sign anywhere of a last one. The edge that the mind keeps drawing at the limit of the galaxies is drawn by the mind each time and is not found in the universe. That racing boundary can be set down too, for there is no boundary to race. The third picture to set aside is the picture of a center. It is the quiet assumption that somewhere out there is the place it all began, the still point that everything is moving away from, the true middle of the universe. This one hides more subtly than the others, because even after the explosion is given up, the mind can go on half believing in a special central place. But the recession has no center. Every observer, everywhere, sees the galaxies fleeing from them on all sides, and every observer seems central to themselves, which means none of them is central in truth. There is no middle of the universe to point to. That imagined center can be set down as well, and with it, the last trace of the explosion goes. The fourth picture to set aside is the picture of the surrounding void, the dark and empty space into which the universe is supposed to be growing. This is the most stubborn of them, the one the whole night has circled, and it is the one the original question rests upon. But it has fared no better than the rest. The geometry needs no outside. The observations show no edge and no center. The horizon is made of time, not space. And even the boldest speculations do not supply the waiting void the mind imagines. The surrounding emptiness is the last and largest of the borrowed pictures, and it too can be gently set down, for there is no sign of it anywhere, and no need for it in anything. What remains, once all four pictures are set aside, is remarkably plain and quiet. There is no explosion, no point of beginning, no outrunning edge, no center, and no surrounding void. There is only space, growing within itself, everywhere at once, every distance between unbound things slowly lengthening, with nothing at the middle and nothing at the margin, and nothing beyond. It is a stranger picture than any of the ones let go, and also a simpler one, and once the eye grows used to its strangeness, a more peaceful one. Nothing is exploding. Nothing is racing anywhere. Nothing is being pressed into a void. There is only a gentle, universal, unhurried growing, needing no beyond. It is a good practice, in the settling quiet of the night, to let these pictures go the way one lets go of the small concerns of the day. The explosion, the racing edge, the center, the surrounding void. Each can be set down softly and left behind, not as errors to be ashamed of, but as helpful images that have done their work and are no longer needed. What is left when they are gone is the true shape of the thing, calmer than any of them, a universe growing quietly in place, holding everything it has, reaching toward nothing, complete in itself, and going gently nowhere. There is one more way to hold all of this, softer than the reasoning and gentler than the geometry, and it comes from simply picturing where the growing actually happens. For all the talk of the universe expanding, the expansion does not happen in the bright places. It does not happen in the stars, or the worlds, or the glowing disks of the galaxies. It happens in the spaces between them, in the enormous and nearly empty distances that separate one island of light from the next. To picture the expansion truly is to picture those quiet gaps and to see them slowly widening in the dark. The distances between the galaxies are difficult to hold in the mind. They are so large. Between one galaxy and its nearest neighbors lie stretches of near-perfect emptiness, so wide that light itself, the fastest thing there is, takes ages upon ages to cross them. And between the great gatherings of galaxies lie emptinesses wider still, immense and calm regions, where there is almost nothing at all, only the faintest scattering of matter. These are the widest and stillest places in all of existence, and they are exactly where the expansion does its patient work, adding slowly to distances that are already almost beyond imagining. It is in these quiet places, and only in these quiet places, that the universe grows. The stretching passes over the bright-bound islands and leaves them whole, and pours all of its gentle effect into the emptiness between. So the expansion is, in a sense, the slow growing of the quiet, the widening of the stillness, the patient lengthening of the long, dark gaps that hold the galaxies apart. It is not a growing of the things, but a growing of the distances between them, a spreading of the calm emptiness in which the things are set. The universe expands by making its quiet places quieter, its wide places wider, its stillness more spacious. There is a way of seeing distance itself in this light, not as separation but as substance, as one of the real materials the universe is made of. The space between the galaxies is not merely a gap, not merely an absence waiting to be crossed. It is a genuine part of the universe, as real as the galaxies it holds apart, and it is the part that grows. When the universe expands, it is making more of this substance, more distance, more of the calm dark between the lights. The emptiness is not nothing. It is the growing thing, the part of the cosmos that increases, the quiet material that the expansion quietly produces. Held this way, the expansion becomes an almost restful thing to picture. Across the whole universe, in every direction, the long, dark distances between the galaxies are slowly growing, gently and without haste, adding stillness to stillness, spaciousness to spaciousness. The galaxies rest in their places, turning slowly, holding their shapes, while the quiet between them widens through ages beyond counting. Nothing is torn. Nothing is hurled. Nothing races toward an edge. There is only the calm, dark, everywhere, growing slowly more calm and more dark and more wide, holding the lights of the universe a little farther apart with the passing of time. And in that picture, the original question loses even the wish to be asked. What is all this quiet growing into? Into itself, into more of the same calm distance, into a greater stillness of the same kind that was always there. Not into an edge, not into a void beyond, not into any surrounding dark, but simply into more of its own quiet, more of the long, spacious emptiness that holds the galaxies gently apart. The universe expands the way silence deepens as a house grows still at night, not by reaching into anything, but by becoming more fully and more widely what it already is. So the last and softest image of the expansion is this. Everywhere, in the long dark between the islands of light, the quiet is slowly growing. That is all the expansion is. Not a rush outward, not a swelling into a void, but a patient widening of the stillness, a gentle increase of the calm distance in which everything rests. There is nothing it grows into but more of its own quiet. And that quiet, spreading softly through all of space, across all of time, asks nothing of anyone, and holds everything exactly where it is, a little farther apart, a little more at rest, with the passing of the long and unhurried years. There is a first reaction to all of this that can feel, briefly, like a small loss. The question began with such a grand and open image, a universe swelling into an endless surrounding space, growing forever into a boundless beyond. And the answer, when it comes, seems at first to take that grandeur away, to close the doors the question had thrown open, to say that there is no surrounding space, no beyond, no great outside for the universe to grow into after all. It can seem, for a moment, as though the universe has been found strangely smaller than hoped, missing the immense surrounding emptiness the imagination had already begun to fill. But the feeling turns over easily, if it is given a moment, into something quite different and much warmer. The absence of an outside is not a lack. It is a kind of completeness. Consider what it really means for the universe to have no beyond. It means there is no elsewhere the universe is straining to reach, no distant place it is trying to arrive at, no boundary it is pressing against, no far country it is being drawn toward. It means the universe is not incomplete, not lacking some outer region it must acquire, not reaching hungrily for more territory. It has everything it has, and it is not missing anything, because there is nothing outside it that could be missing. To have no outside is to be whole. This is a gentler thing to know than the grand image the question began with. A universe expanding into an endless void would be a universe forever chasing an outside it never reaches, forever bounded by a beyond just past its edge. The real universe does no chasing. It is not bounded by anything, because there is nothing to bound it. It does not reach for anything, because it is not short of anything. It simply holds everything it holds, and grows quietly more spacious within itself, at ease, complete, going nowhere, because there is nowhere else it needs to be. The answer that seemed at first to take something away turns out to give something back. A picture of a universe that is not lacking, not straining, not incomplete, but whole. There is a great rest available in that, especially at the end of a long day. The universe is not racing outward into a void. It is not running out of space. It is not going anywhere it has to be, not hurrying toward any edge, not pressing into any dark. It is simply here, all of it, holding the galaxies and the long, quiet distances between them, holding the light of the oldest glow, still falling softly on every side, holding the slow turning of every galaxy and the patient widening of every empty gap. And it is growing, gently, more open, more spacious, more calm, without needing anywhere to grow into, because it is already everything there is. Everything that exists is already here. That is perhaps the softest way to hold the whole answer. There is no other place. There is no outside where anything is kept, no beyond where anything waits, no surrounding expanse where the missing part of things is hidden. Everything that is here, in this one growing universe, and nothing real lies outside of it to be longed for or feared. The small, warm world where a person rests, the sky above it, the distant lights beyond that sky, the enormous quiet that holds them apart. All of it is here, in the only place there is, growing slowly and gently, more spacious with the passing of time. And so the question that opened the night can be laid down now, softly, along with everything else that no longer needs holding. What is the universe expanding into? Into nothing. Into no beyond, no void, no surrounding dark, but only more of its own quiet, more of the same calm space that was always here. There is no edge to fall from. There is no outside to worry over. There is no boundary anywhere, and nothing beyond it, and nothing lacking because of that. There is only this, all of it, here, growing gently more open and asking nothing of anyone at all. Let that be the thought to rest on tonight. The universe is not straining toward any distant elsewhere. It is only here, growing quietly more spacious, holding everything it has ever held, complete in itself and in no hurry at all. There is no edge to fall from, and no outside to reach, and nothing you need to follow it toward. Let the question grow quiet, now. Let the great calm distances widen slowly in the dark, far away and harmless, needing nothing from you. Let your thoughts grow slow and wide and unhurried, like the space between the galaxies. There is nowhere the universe has to go, and nowhere you have to go either, nothing to reach for and nothing missing. Let your breathing slow. Let the day drift gently away. Sleep well and good night.